Me. I'm the hash slinging slasher. The trash singing slasher. Because it's mostly trash. But also, do you mean to tell me this movie takes place in North Carolina and there's only one person in the entire film who owns a gun? I refuse to believe that. Actually, do you know who would be very disappointed? Sidney fucking Prescott. Do you know why? Because in Scream, I think it was 5, they were like, Sidney, there's a killer on the loose. Do you have a gun? And she's like, I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun. And she lived in California, where carrying licenses are very strict. Very North Carolina, where it's a lot easier. They could have gone to Walmart, a Bass Pro Shop, a Cabela. There's got to be a Tanger Outlets near this fucking little tourist town. But anyways, welcome back, and once again, thank you for trusting me with your full spoiler movie reviews. That thing I do where I watch movies and then I tell you all about it. As always, I am unpaid and unsponsored, and spoilers. Spoilers, all the spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, you can go ahead and scroll. I won't be offended. Spoilers. Okay, here we go. This is the 2025 I Know What You Did Last Summer, which turned out to actually be a sequel. Much like how the new Scream movies are sequels. Which, if we're doing it at that point, stop naming it the name of the original film. It's not a reboot or a remake. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, what's this about? Well, roughly 30 years post the Southport murders, this girl named Ava came home from college because her friend Danica and her boyfriend Teddy are getting married. So she came home for the engagement party, which they had, and Danica's ex-boyfriend is there, and they're supposed to hook up. Which, just to let you know, by the way, Danica, I think they were trying to push her to be like a beloved character in this movie, but she sounds like fucking Ariana Grande and Victorious. Picture that for almost 2 hours. No. Anyway, they're supposed to be getting married, and they were having an engagement party, and it's the 4th of July, so everybody wants to drive out to a spot. It's like Suicide Cliff or something like that, Devil's Cliff, because a lot of people die right there, but apparently it's the best place to watch fireworks, so they're going to go park there. But before they leave, they see their old friend Stevie, who's working with like the bar catering for the party, which they used to be friends with because they were all super rich. And I mean, they were all fucking super rich. They were Outer Banks rich. But Stevie's dad apparently took all the money in her college fund and ran off and left her poor. And she kind of spiraled and she had to go to rehab. And they quit being friends with her because then she was poor. Anyways, they're like, hey, come hang out with us. And she's like, okay. So they all go to this fucking cliff. And Teddy's like standing on the middle of the road being funny. Because it's a blind bend. It's a blind bend on a cliff. And he's standing out in the middle of the road causing chaos for fucking cars. And one, like, steers out of control and goes off of a cliff. And they do call 911 for help. But then the cops told him to go to the police station and make a statement. So they all get into the car, and then Danica doesn't go to the police station to make a statement. They go to Teddy's house because Teddy's dad is some kind of police lawyer councilman thing. And he's just going to have it all erased. So at any point, any of them could have gone to the police station and made a statement. But they didn't. And they all split up. Cut back to 1 year later. Danica gets off the plane, but then she has bathroom sex with this one chick who needs a ride, and they get picked up by Danica's ex-boyfriend that she re-met at the engagement party, which I guess they stayed in connection. His name was Mila! And it turns out the chick is a true crime podcaster who's going over the 1997 murders. So they drop her off, and then they go to another bridal shower. Again for Danica, but this time it's a different guy. I think his name is Wyatt, because she broke up with Teddy after all that, and now Teddy's drinking a lot. But Danica is now back doing her damn Ariana Grande impression, but specifically the cat. What's Cat's last name? I don't know. I didn't watch Victorious. I just know the little clip. But anyway, she's opening her present. She opens a card. It says, I know what you did last summer. And she's like, that's fucking weird. So she gathers everybody, and they're thinking it's Teddy. Now, at this point, we're roughly like 30 minutes into the film. But it's nighttime. It's after the party. Danica goes upstairs to take a bath with her headphones on. The backyard has like these open doors or whatever. I guess they were still open from like the patio or whatever for the party. But it's completely pitch black in their backyard. No like street lights, no moon, no like reflecting lights coming out of windows. It is pitch black somehow. This is the same problem we had with the front porch in the fucking Strangers Chapter 1, but I digress. It's the fucking murder from the damn commercial with like the harpoon going through the guy and whatnots. So yeah, like half an hour into a 2-hour film, and the first murder is the one from the commercial. But anyway, Danica comes down, she sees her fiance has been murdered. So the next day they all gather around and they're all talking about how it's kind of similar to what happened in 97. Or from what I remember. Danica brings up the podcast, Bathroom Sex Girl, and they're like, oh, it's probably her doing a copycat, so they go to track her down. Well, Ava finds her, and they're walking around, and podcast lady's like, you should go to this place. I think it's called, like, the Bayside Market or something like that. And Ava's like, why? And podcast chick was like, well, there was the most gruesome murder here. And she was like, okay. So they get to the back of the building, and somehow, even though Ava didn't know that that was the whole thing with the building, knew exactly where the hidden key was, and then they went inside. They're looking around, podcast girl goes upstairs, and then somebody in the little fisherman outfit shows up. Then the fisherman shows up, and Ava's like, oh my god, it's the podcast girl. But then the podcast girl shows up trying to figure out what's going on, and it's not her. Everybody starts running around, and then the Gordon's fisherman drops like this cage on top of Ava. And for some odd reason, instead of trying to just like lift it off, they keep trying to pry it open and trying to unscrew it. Like, it's probably not that heavy. With the two of y'all, you could have just tipped it, but we didn't do that. And then the podcast girl is running around trying to get out. She tried one door and it didn't work. So she took the weight elevator, even though they're on the ground floor and there's windows and she's in biker boots. Kick it! It's a room full of furniture. Throw a chair. But whatever. Ava gets out. Podcast girl is murdered. Who also actually makes Etsy shirts of Helen Shivers. So they start digging into the 97 murder. They track down Jennifer Love Hewitt. And she's like, what did you do last summer? Ava told her. And Ava's like, well, you got to track down who's fucking connected to it. Because it's probably one of them. Then there's like a town hall meeting. And Freddie Prinze Jr. shows up. And there's a priest who's kind of suspicious. Well, then they just happen to drop the information that they did find out later on in the year who it was that died off of the cliff. Some guy named Sam Cooper, but they couldn't find anything on the internet because Teddy's dad, Graham, erased anything about him off of the internet. That's fucking convenient. He's only like a councilman or a lawyer or some shit. How does he have all these connections? Does he know Mr. Google? But they tracked down the truck that he crashed that night. Come to find out it belonged to the priest. So they went to the priest. And at some point, I can't remember exactly when, Danica and Teddy go to a graveyard that doesn't really look like a graveyard. It looks like a really bad background. They do go to find Sam Cooper in the graveyard where somebody has laid flowers on Sam's grave. And they're like, who the fuck did this? How do we find out? And there happens to be a caretaker. And they're like, do you know who it was? And he's like, no. And they're like, what about those cameras that just so happen to be in the tree pointing right at Sam's grave? Crypt Keeper goes to check the cameras and gets murdered. And then after, it had to have been fucking an hour or so because they are still standing there in the same spot and it's dark by now. Teddy's like, I'm going to go check on everything. Danica's like, okay. So she's going to be alone in a graveyard in heels, flip-flop heels, I might add, while there's murder. Murder ends up behind her, chases her around. She ends up in a building that has the Croker parade float thing that Sarah Michelle Gellar was on. Chases her around. Teddy comes out of nowhere and fucking tackles the Gordon's fisherman. Gordon's fisherman takes off running. They all go back to somebody's house. I don't know whose house. Stevie gets a call to leave. It was from Freddie Prinze Jr. because she works for Freddie Prinze Jr. I guess he was friends with her dad at some point. Teddy and Danica are gonna snuggle. And so are Ava and fucking Milo. But Ava asked Milo to choke her the fuck out during sex. And it freaked him out, so he had to go to the car to give himself a pep talk. Anyways, then Milo gets killed. Teddy leaves at some point. I can't remember when, but he was getting drunk at his own house. And for some odd reason, his house like has some kind of, it looks like a fucking Indiana Jones tunnel. I don't even know what to call it. Fucking rich people, I swear to God. But at the very end was like, there's supposed to be like a statue. It's dark, so it's all shadowy, but it turns out to be the Gordon's fisherman who then kills Ted. But it was like a really long murder, and then his dad comes out, and he's trying to help Teddy, but then the Gordon's fisherman gets him too. Like, puts him up on one of those little, like, fish gutting things, where the next day, then the police put up these screens that you can definitely see through. And then Freddie Prinze Jr. tells the girls to get out of there, so they take Teddy's boat. And surprise, it's Stevie. She's all murdery because they were mean to her. And come to find out, Sam Cooper was her friend. Freddie Prinze Jr. drives the boat out there, shoots her. Stevie stabs Danica. Danica goes over. Freddie Prinze Jr. shows up, shoots Stevie, and they think they're... Come to find out, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Stevie were in cahoots. Jennifer Love Hewitt shows up with her famous, "What are you waiting for?" speech. Ava kills Freddie Prinze Jr. Danica washes up. She's alive. Apparently, they know Stevie's still alive. We don't know how. They just say so. Jennifer Love Hewitt gets a note that says it's not over and goes to Brandy Norwood's house from I still no. Go to part 2.